Should I tell my husband that if he doesn't lose weight and get his health in order, I want a divorce? My husband Mark and I have been together for 10 years, and I love him unconditionally, no matter what we look like. When we first got together as teenagers, we were both so much smaller. But in the last 3 to 4 years, he's put on over 200 pounds. I don't even care about the number on the scale, that's not what bothers me. What kills me is that his weight has caused stage 2 hypertension, pre-diabetes, and sleep apnea. At his heaviest, he was almost 480 pounds. He was prescribed meds to help with blood pressure and weight loss, but he never takes them consistently, so they don't even work. I've tried everything to get him to eat better or move more. At one point, he lost over 30 pounds, but now he's back at 435. And then I find out that 2 months ago he just decided to stop taking his meds completely because he didn't think he needed them. Now his blood pressure is worse and the weight is climbing again. His doctor told him he's at a serious risk of a stroke or heart disease if he is not taking his medication consistently. It's beyond frustrating. We have a baby and expecting another, and I cannot babysit a grown man every single day to make sure he takes his pills, eats healthy and gets some exercise while I'm also working full-time and caring for our kid. He won't go on walks with us. He wanted a bike that he never touches. And when I even offered to pay for boxing lessons because he said it would be fun, he said no. It honestly feels like I'm going to be a widow by 30 with 2 little kids because he won't take his own health seriously. And I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. I can't just sit here and watch him die. And if I bring it up, he says it's really rude and never asked me to lose weight. Or he's working on it. I love him and do not want a divorce, but I feel like maybe an ultimatum is the only thing that will click for him to take this seriously. Any advice? Edit, I should add he was diagnosed with depression our senior year of high school and has been to therapy for it in the past but refuses to go again because he doesn't think it's the same. He does go to a weight management doctor and they prescribed him something to help him lose weight, but I'm not sure the brand name. He's not taking it consistently anyway. He does not want to go to therapy. I've already asked many times. He sees this as a non-issue and a waste of money. I also want to add that my husband is a very tall man with broad shoulders, so he carries his weight well. All the comments saying I don't love my husband because he's fat are heartbreaking. I've tried to reiterate that I love him no matter his size. I loved him when he was a skinny kid, and I love him now. This has nothing to do with weight itself. It's about his health. I can't sit back and watch him slowly die, or worse, our children or me finding him dead in the future. The final straw for me was when the doctors told us he's at risk for a stroke or heart disease. People saying negative things about him don't understand that he is an amazing man. He is a devoted father and would give the last dollar in his pocket to someone who needed it. He truly deserves everything good in life. I just want him to be healthy and live a long life with me. I do not want a divorce to get away from him. I love him. I just don't know what else to do when he won't help himself. Hello. This post has made it to Repopular. For anyone new here, please take a moment to familiarize yourself with our rules in the sidebar and wiki before commenting. Remain civil and use the reporting feature for any activity you suspect is breaking the rules, including rude or derogatory language, bots, or I use. I am a bot and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. Ultimatums only work if you are willing to follow through on that. If he's not willing to take the meds he's prescribed or for you, your kids, and not even himself, then there's nothing you can do. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. My dear, you are in a lose-lose situation. You can stay and watch him kill himself, or leave and struggle to raise your kids without him. Actually, you will be without him either way. Can you possibly get him into marriage counseling? A good counselor may be able to show him how he is traumatizing and hurting the one he should love and protect, which adds another lose-lose, as his health will most likely take an even more drastic turn for the worse if she does leave. If he won't take his meds, you can't make him. If you stay, just make sure you have solid life insurance. Since he wants to gamble on his health like that, Op needs to take him to an insurance broker, tell him she insists because she doesn't want to be a broke single mother trying to pay bills after he dies. Have the broker explain that his life insurance rates are so high because the probability of him dying young is so high, and it would not make sense to insure him like other people. It's code prohibitive for the insurance company. Reality needs to slap him in the face. Hard. Op doesn't need just a life policy on her husband to secure the future of their children. Her husband needs a great health insurance and both a long and short-term disability policy to protect the family against his medical expenses and inability to work. Unfortunately, it's entirely possible that the medical expenses and inability to work will be caused by his death. So yes, Op definitely does need life insurance. Dying is expensive entirely aside from the medical expenses that can be incurred in the lead-up to death. Even the cheapest funeral isn't that cheap, and I suspect that those expenses would be even higher for someone who weighs over 400 pounds, as that's one heck of a large coffin. No one is giving this guy life insurance. He may have some level of coverage from his job automatically, but that is it. Nah, he can get it, but his options will be extremely limited and it will be much more expensive. I hope they got that insurance years ago, when they first got married and well before he decided to kill himself with food. And they'll probably have some fun bylaws and little gotcha moments in the fine print that essentially say if he dies of a health-preventable disease, that they won't pay out. So make sure to read all the stipulations. Having worked in insurance, it's very unlikely he'd qualify for anything. He's too young for the guaranteed issue final expense GIF, and life insurance typically has health underwriting. Even an instant answer term policy would have health questions, just no underwriting, which he'd fail. Life insurance is, unfortunately and obviously, insurance. Gambling with your life. He's too much of a risk to the insurance company as it stands right now. That will be expensive due to his health issues. Even at only 25. Yay, but with two smalls, if he's not taking steps to rectify the situation. She needs a solid policy in place to financially secure or minimally stabilize the children's future. Doesn't matter. That's the price he has to pay for his life choices. He won't be able to get life insurance with his medical conditions. To me, this sounds like a man who is killing himself because what he consumes is the only control he feels like he has over his life. And that is a very clear symptom of disordered eating. Get him into therapy with someone versed in eating disorders and make it a hill to die on. Because if you don't, he will. That might be the better ultimatum. If you don't go back to therapy and address this, I will leave. Not necessarily the meds right away. I know for a fact my parents went through this when my dad was having mental health issues. And as brutal as it was, he did go get help and get meds. There were still challenges. But the threat was a wake-up call that he needed to get himself together. I was going to suggest therapy as well. Massive weight gain usually has a mental component if there is not something physical behind it. Start shopping for a large life insurance policy for him. Tell him you can't make him be healthy, but you can make sure his children are taken care of when he dies. Don't nag him, remind him, force him, or cajole him. Just prepare for what he is offering and don't hide it. Get 2 of those books that you can record yourself reading and ask him to do them so the kids have a record of his voice. Recognize his autonomy to live his life the way he wants. But you're thinking of the welfare of your children in regard to his life choices. Ultimatums will not work. He has to want to lose weight for himself, not for you, your children, or anyone else. My husband has a pattern of having extraordinarily high blood pressure, getting sick from it, being put on meds, taking them for a while, then stopping. In 2021, he was hospitalized and his kidneys were shutting down. He swore that was his wake-up call. Fast forward to last year. I was cleaning his bathroom and found years' worth of his blood pressure meds unused. He was getting them filled to make me think he was taking them. That was my breaking point. I no longer care if he takes them or not. He's close to stage 3 kidney failure, yet refused to see a kidney specialist. Before I'd look at his medication case to make sure he was in fact taking his meds. But I stopped. I resent him for ignoring his health, but he's a grown-ass adult and I'm not his mother. We're in our mid-50s and I refuse to have to be his nurse in my older years. I want to travel and enjoy life, not be stuck at home because he needs dialysis 3 days a week. Call me heartless and cruel and how I need to honor my wedding vows. I just don't care. You vowed to be his wife to honor, comfort, and love him, in sickness or in health, for the duration of your marriage. None of those words require you to be his full-time caregiver or his nurse. Further, how is his refusal to care for himself showing honor, comfort, or love to you? He has chosen to forsake his vows and to forsake you by choosing his own wants above his duty to you. My stepmom stuck by my dad all the way from his serious cancer diagnosis to his death. Took him to all the doctor appointments, the chemo, advocated for him with his practitioners, cooked him whatever he was able to tolerate to prevent malnutrition when chemo and radiation were making him sick. My dad did his part by getting all the unpleasant treatments, countless CT scans, blood work, painful force sticks in his hand veins when his arm veins weren't accessible. He followed the advice of his tumor team, actual phrase to the letter, complied with all the limits. He was extremely attached to our little dachshund, and he wasn't allowed to snuggle with the dog without a mask and gloves for a year. Couldn't have the dog sleep in the bed with him like he had for the last decade plus of his life because he was immunocompromised. Did it all without protest. That's what partnership is. That's what in sickness and in health means. I'm so sorry about that situation. I don't understand what's the matter with people and blood pressure meds. Are the side effects terrible? Do they hurt the stomach? In every Doctors on Reddit post, there are stories about people who just won't take them. My granny keeps saying, I measured it in the morning and it was good, so I didn't take meds. Is it maybe that some people weren't taking anything before? So the fact of being prescribed meds makes them feel uneasy, reminds them of their mortality? I've been on blood pressure meds for years. 1 in the morning, 2 at night. Super simple, super easy. No painful side effects. I want to be around to spend quality time with my kids and grandkids. I once played with my health like that. Ended up in the hospital. Now I take them every day. Hypertension is one of those things that because you don't feel it is called the silent killer for a reason, you think you can ignore it. I've been on blood pressure meds when I didn't have high blood pressure, and they did suck. But for people with high blood pressure, they work exactly as intended, lowering blood pressure to a safe level. And they're small pills, no giant horse pills that will get stuck in your throat. In my personal opinion, in sickness and in health, vows only count if you are actively working on your health. Spouses who won't take medication or actively treat their issue only get so much support until they have effectively nullified that vow. Your wedding vows do not include being a nurse to someone who refuses to take care of himself. Do your thing, try to save some money and have some fun. I don't understand people who don't work for good health. It's so true. Without good health, you have nothing. Get some good life insurance set up, and when the inevitable happens, travel and enjoy life you can. NTA. Shock him by trying to buy a large-term life insurance plan. If he is rejected, it will because the insurance company thinks there is a better chance of him dying than living. And it's not coming from you. Then look for plans that don't require a physical. So when he croaks, you get some cash. I'm actually amazed you are pregnant. Food addiction is the worst one because indeed you need to eat to live. So you just can't stop it. The real issue here is what underlies below is addiction, and it might be an undiagnosed depression or ADHD. But since your husband says he didn't think he needed the medication for diagnosed conditions, if you suggest he consult a mental health specialist, he will say you are the crazy one. Sometimes you just have to drive them to the edge so they realize they are f***ing it up. What I would do if I was in your shoes is tell him you love him, but you just can't witness how he's slowly killing himself. So you're moving out with your kid. Sometimes though, love is the only choice. Ozempic Mounjaro have been shown to help with addiction as well as weight loss. They shouldn't be taken lightly, but he sounds like a prime candidate with obesity, diabetes and addiction issues. Yes, he needs tirzepatide Zepbound Mounjaro if you can find it BC. He sounds like a legit candidate for the real script. This works better and faster than semaglutide. I think once he starts seeing weight come off and eating better, he just might be inspired and remember what it was like to not be in this endless cycle. Of course, yes. Also therapy. They can go hand in hand. But the GLPs can help so much with the food addiction and give him time to understand why he is doing what he is doing. Maybe something happened for years ago. Maybe that will let him face it. Or if it's just his diagnosed depression, these things can hopefully help him climb out. NTA, my husband recently died at 52 because his excess weight resulted in sleep apnea, diabetes, high blood pressure, which led to congestive heart failure and kidney disease. He stopped taking his medication at one point too, but was med compliant when he died. Tell your husband that's where he is headed. NTA. He is going to die early. That is a fact. You can't force someone to care about their life and health. I tried. Refusing to follow DR's orders, refusing to be compliant on meds. After I left him, he got the help he needed. Sit him down and tell him that you cannot watch him kill himself any longer. Tell him if he doesn't care enough about his children to be around for them in the future, then you can't stay and let them watch him die. You might want to do this with his friends and family who are also concerned in an intervention way. It is not rude to care about someone's health. Focus on health, not weight. He has some very serious health conditions. Then take action. Take a separation and try marriage counseling. Hopefully, this will wake him up before you have to file for divorce. Good luck. Update me. Counseling. Ultimatums are not the answer. But if you want to end your marriage for the chance of him getting his ass in gear and being more motivated, you can try. He could just as easily give up even more if you divorce him. Couples therapy counseling is your only real option ATM. He won't even listen to doctors. This is incredibly frustrating, and I wouldn't blame you for being furious at him for not trying at all. He's refusing therapy. She is out of options. That's exactly what the post says. OP, please take my story to your husband. I'm literally fighting for my life. I'm fighting to stay here for my 17-year-old daughter. I have stiff person syndrome, look up Celine Dion. I'm 42, and this disease is going to take 10 to 15 years off my lifespan. I'm going to end up in a wheelchair in a few years, and I fight every day just to get out of bed, to be able to have normal bodily functions, urinating and bowel movements. My daughter was having to do pretty much everything around the house. Laundry, cleaning, cooking, yard work, snow removal. Like a Cinderella. I hated it, but I couldn't do much. I finally put in the paperwork for yard care and snow removal assistance, and I was also approved for home health care. They helped me with dishes, laundry, making my bed, cleaning, and when the time comes, bathing me. I'm fighting to keep my independence, and so that my daughter doesn't have to see me lose those last parts of myself. Why is your husband so okay with the opposite? He'd give anything to be of sound body again, to be able to work, to take a pill and be able to exercise and get better. I will never be able to walk again without a cane, walker or something smumming helping me. I will never again be able to work the career I fought so hard to achieve. And I will never again be able to do basic things around my own house without having someone else follow me around, just in case I fall or I have a muscle spasm so bad that I end up having a seizure. This is a food addiction, my friend. It has nothing to do with food per se. Food is just his current drug of choice. There is something deeply wrong inside of him, and he is eating to fill that void, and until the mental health issues are dealt with, he is not going to improve because food is the only thing that makes him feel good right now. That's why he won't take the weight loss drugs. It's like giving a heroin addict Suboxone when they aren't ready to quit. They'll just quit the Suboxone and go back to the drugs. He needs to be in therapy, but honestly, until he's ready, even that will be a hard sell because right now there is no crisis. He's found an equilibrium and his system is going to resist anything that throws that off. IMO, you will probably need to leave, for his own sake, because until something serious happens to wake him up, it won't change. People rarely make changes when there's not a sword at their back. NTA, but you can't keep enabling him. Something has to give. As long as he can keep pretending life is all good, with you picking up his slack, he's gonna remain the way he is. Openly talk to him about life insurance and a living will. Make sure all those things are in order, and then just let him do whatever he wants. Absolutely do not babysit him. He's an adult. If he doesn't want to take his pills, then he doesn't have to. I say this as a nurse that deals with chronically ill patients, mostly hypertension and diabetes, some of which are the age of your husband. I've seen so many wives develop chronic conditions of their own from the stress and self-neglect caused by trying to force their husbands to be healthy. Just stop. Take care of yourself and your kids. Offer to involve him in whatever you're doing. But you have to let go of your expectations and just live your life. If you're doing to throw out an ultimatum, you better be prepared to back it up with action. It would be very frustrating to have a partner who did not care at all about their health. How is yours? Maybe concentrating on your own healthy lifestyle will be a good example and an incentive for him. Counseling is a good option, but if you really don't want to watch him kill himself with an action, then follow through and move out or move him out and start divorce proceedings. It may not be enough to change him, or he may not be taking you seriously because you've thrown out deadlines before but not followed through. NTA. If he won't do it for himself or for you, that's one thing, but what example is he setting for those kids? As a parent, it's your responsibility to do your best to be healthy and show your kids how to take care of themselves, their future families, and to take health seriously. If he's not prepared to be a good example to the kids and to live long enough to see them grow, then he should leave the family home now. I would take him to counseling first. Or at the very least, try to get into his head that sleep apnea is literally destroying his brain. Each time they do that stop breathing thing, it causes a lack of blood flow to the brain, forcing the brain to jerk the person awake to gasp for air. This can happen multiple times in an hour. If you can't get him into counseling, and he won't listen, then you have to decide if you want to watch him deteriorate, because he will if he doesn't treat it. My husband's uncle did this exact thing. Only at a smaller BMI, he's Indian, they get health issues at a lower weight than, say, me, who is Nordic. The man ended up in such a brain fog he lost his job, had to rely on his kids, and ended up passing from a stroke because his blood pressure got too high watering it down. His eldest son found him. The same eldest son had to live with me and husband for a while because it was so traumatic to find his dad like that. He could barely function. Ultimatums don't work, but an open discussion on boundaries does. The boundary in this case is I need you to lose weight so you can stay with me and remain healthy and both of us to be happy. If you cannot do that and don't want to go to therapy, then X will happen. Whether that X is a separation or full-on divorce is up to you, but it should be after everything else is exhausted IMO. I had a fiance like this, but to be fair, he was big from the get-go. I loved him dearly. I tried to help him live healthier and lose weight. I ended up HR asking off our engagement as I couldn't bear to be a young widow and lose him. Unfortunately, he gained more weight and had a heart attack in his 30s that killed him. He left a wife, an infant son, and 2 stepchildren. It still makes me emotional to think about, as I did truly love him so dearly. No advice, OP, just some perspective from someone in a similar position and virtual hugs to you. It's a hard position to be in. This is suicide by food. Yeah. So a factor in divorcing my husband was a refusal to take care of his health. He thought he could ignore the fact that he was type 2 diabetic, no matter how the doctor explained it to him. He said it's a genetic thing for his family and wouldn't take insulin and would eat a king-size candy bar and a pop for breakfast. He would then become ill and not feel well and treat us all like crap. I was losing sleep and had severe anxiety over his health all the time, while he just pretended he was totally fine. It wasn't the full reason we got divorced, but it was a huge factor. No idea if we are the assholes or not, but it's been almost 2 years and I am a whole lot less stressed. Definitely have him take out life insurance to benefit the children. I'm sure he's going to find some great rates with his profile. I don't think they would even bother to draw up the paperwork, much less even quote him any rates. I doubt he will qualify. I'm sure he'll qualify, but I'm sure his premiums are going to be really high. Going to be very expensive if he's in poor health. Morbid obesity, not to be confused with being a little bit overweight, is a mental health issue, firstly, and should be treated as such. It sounds like you have tried to see it from that perspective, but he is unwilling to take the actual professional help available to him. Unfortunately, you can't fix this for him, and he ain't hit the rock bottom yet. Perhaps separating yourself from him will be the wake-up call he needs, but prepare yourself in case it isn't. You are definitely NTA. Ultimatums are a shit way to go about anything, and most people do not react well to being given them and tend to make rash choices over it. Couples counseling with a truly neutral counselor is what you two need. He needs to understand that you are concerned about his future with his family, and you need to see if there is a deeper cause to his weight gain, such as depression. Trust me here, as a guy with depression, we never talk about it. Agreed. And I can pretty much guarantee that someone who weighs over 400 pounds is bound to be deeply depressed. Depression is probably the root cause of him having no motivation to do anything. Mental health is a fucking beast. Does he have a medical condition that could have caused the weight gain? Gaining 200 pounds in 3 to 4 years is very strange. He was kicked out of his house our senior year of high school and was diagnosed with depression. His weight management doctor says he is using food as comfort instead of for nutrition. Has he ever gone to counseling? Worked through that trauma at all? Being abandoned by your family sticks with you for the rest of your life, even with therapy and conflict resolution. It's not really surprising he's putting weight on if he's not working through his mental health issues. Easier to eat a Big Mac than cry your way through a session. You're NTA for being at the end of your rope, But if neither of you have ever considered the root cause of the physical issues that being mental, it may be that approaching it in this different angle might keep divorce off the table. Not if you're sitting on your ass all day eating garbage. It's pretty easy to gain 1 pound a week with a terrible lifestyle. I'll get downvoted to hell, but why did you have sex with him while he is this big? Making a second baby? Why do people continuously dig themselves in deeper holes? I do love my husband, so we have sex, lol. And from what I was understanding, he was taking his medication and actively losing weight. It wasn't until this week that I found out about him not taking his meds for the last 2 months. I was under the impression he was actively trying to stay consistent with them. Just be honest with him, don't focus on the weight side of things, but more his general health. Sit down and make him organize life insurance and a will if he's going to continue. It might be the kick up the butt he needs. Regardless, you have to do what's right for your kids. But also, as someone who struggles with weight, nothing anyone else says or does can get you off that road and onto a healthier one. You have to be ready. Best of luck. Don't carry the weight you didn't put on yourself. He cannot be forced into losing weight. He needs to want to very strongly in order to be successful. You are NTA. But I see where you're coming from. It's possible he feels so defeated, he doesn't know how to improve. You need to find a way to make him want to change. At this point, his best options are gastric surgery or one of the newer GLP-1 medications, but either way, his heart needs to be in it as well. In the meantime, you can help by educating yourself on only preparing healthy foods, purchasing whole, nutritious foods for meals and snacks. Don't ever go out for fast foods, and maintain an overall healthier lifestyle for yourself and child Ren. He may follow your lead and he may not, but you cannot force him. This is a problem. I don't know if he is doing this because he is depressed or because he was sexually abused as a child or for some other reason, but what I do know is that he needs to be responsible for his own health. And as hard as that may be to hear, you may need to start preparing for life without him, whether you do decide to leave or he drops dead from a heart attack, and stop trying to fix him. I think that you have done enough. Tried hard enough. Change is in his hands. Take care of you. Don't give him an ultimatum unless you are prepared to follow through on it. Only a matter of time before he is bedridden. On my 600LB life, how did he even get you pregnant at almost 500 pounds? I am surprised his willy wasn't buried underneath his stomach. Like, logistically, I don't understand how that works. This made me laugh lol. He is about 63, so yes, while he is a big guy, he isn't bedridden. A lot of people wouldn't even guess his weight because he is broad-shouldered. Man, 400 is a pretty unhealthy number. 480 is a crazy number. Arbalist he is. I'm 6'1", I weigh 350. I work out 5 days a week, lifting weights. I've lived an active lifestyle, played sports in JR, high and high school, snowboarding, hiking, running, powerlifting, football and tennis, hockey. I'm a big dude. Well, overweight, but still active. My cholesterol, blood pressure, heart, etc., it all fine. No issues with diabetes, hypertension, etc. I will say my knees are paying the price for decades of sports at a heavy weight. Your husband is dying quickly. You can love someone unconditionally and not want to watch them die. You can't do it for him. Get a hefty life insurance plan on him. Never give someone an ultimatum unless you are prepared to act on it. NTA. Your husband is committing suicide with his teeth. This is depression. The state of his health is what he thinks he deserves. You cannot argue anyone out of depression. Tell your husband that you view him as actively committing suicide. He clearly is doing all in his power to force himself to die young and leave you and the kids alone. He is torturing you along the way as you helplessly watch him destroy himself. Unable to stop him. He needs therapy. He needs to binge watch all the IG and YouTube videos of morbidly obese people who reclaim their health. Every decision he makes is an opportunity to do good or bad.